filthy people. I know what you're thinking. Happy Wednesday, everyone. So Joe Biden appeared on The View today, where co-host Sarah Haynes said it's like having one of the Beatles at the table. True, if you're talking about George or John.
I thought more like Yoko.
Kamala Harris will visit the southern border on Friday. She said she's looking forward to finally meeting Justin Trudeau. Speaking of Harris, at the last debate, she said she was a middle-class kid. However, it appears Harris enjoyed things most middle-class kids didn't, like living abroad, private school, growing up in some of the wealthiest places on earth. The only thing she didn't enjoy was a nanny, unlike her husband.
Took a long way to
That
get
was
there,
a
but
long
we
way
got
for
there.
a cheap joke. You're welcome, America. New CDC data shows that U.S. obesity rates have fallen for the first time ever. But just like the crime statistics, the CDC left out the cities of New Orleans, Los Angeles, and The View. Reports claim that a U.S. woman died inside Switzerland's new suicide pod. Where can you buy one for a friend? Asked one woman. She kills people, they say.
We're not messing around today.
A survey finds residents of Wyoming have the most positive outlook on life. Researchers could only find 3 residents with a negative attitude about the future: Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, and a snow-covered buffalo. Finally, CNN aired a McDonald's segment featuring some of their food and brought in Brian Stelter to discuss it. But the food was not so much a prop as it was to keep Stelter from trying to eat Caitlin Collins. He's a hungry little devil. All right, let's do a monologue. So after 4 years as border czar and serving in our nation's second highest office, Kamala seems to have suddenly remembered that we actually have a border. She's seen the light, and it's not the one Joe's walking towards. For she's announced she's going to the border. True, after 4 years of denying there's a border crisis, what's changed? Why the 180? Do you suppose it's the polls? It's amazing how the only way to get a Democrat to do anything is their fear of losing power. Then suddenly everything they mocked becomes everything they embrace. According to a new Gallup poll, the orange meanie, he's winning, and the reasons why happen to be real, issues. Things like economic pessimism, inflation, fuel prices higher than Pelosi's eyebrows. And there's that, little border thing, that crazy notion that every nation in history has been allowed to have a border except the U.S. It's no wonder a New York Times poll shows that in swing states like Arizona, Georgia, and even North Carolina, Trump is spanking Kamala like a mouthy orphan. Shut up, orphan. And in light of how underpolled Republicans are, the margins are likely wider than a Jerry Nadler seatbelt extender. So Kamala, suddenly she's for fracking. Suddenly she hates defunding the police. And yes, suddenly she's heading to the border. Now, if you doubt that this is a major change from the past, here she is providing a nuanced articulation of her previous border policy.
Up with education, down, down with deportation. Up with education, down, down with deportation. Up with education, down, down with deportation.
That's going to make her claims of being black even harder to believe. She has all the natural rhythm of Mitt Romney. Ironically, now, Kamala seems to be all for deporting her past. But moments like that are captured forever. It's not easy to be a vacuous, lying chameleon in the internet age. But what's most amazing, we still don't know what her plans for the border or for anything else are. Sure, she's going down there. So, what will she do to tighten the border, to deport criminal aliens, to guard America's kids against migrant predators? Where's her song and dance for that? Or does she think that just visiting the border like it's a Niagara Falls gift shop is going to be enough to get her ahead in the polls? She'll just look at it and say, yep, that's the border, all right. Wow, I can see my potential voters from here. Or Maybe she'll visit that load of scrap metal that would have been Trump's wall. She could slap up a few hundred miles of fence. The cheap labor is right there to do it on the other side. But oddly, Democrats are allergic to boundaries and barriers. And it's this allergy that allows predators to game the system. Whether it's gangsters from Venezuela claiming asylum, male rapists defining themselves as women to enter female prisons, or repeat criminals capitalizing on the rhetoric of oppression to escape incarceration. Every system without barriers is prone to predation, because that's what barriers keep out, predators. So what you're seeing at the border is exactly what you see in every place where Dems have eliminated barriers to entry. Anyone can game the system. It's our biggest threat, the predatory advantage in a barrier-free society. When you don't have rules at the door, whether it's a country or a bar, the bar will be destroyed and so will the country. Even the freest place on earth requires rules for those who want in, rules that one abides by or else. And that weeds out the predators. But the left has deemed such limits as oppressive, and it's destroying us. No wonder voters prefer Trump when it comes to illegal aliens. I mean, they really prefer him. A new poll shows that voters actually trust Trump to keep not just earthling aliens, but interstellar aliens out of the country as well. I admit I'll miss the anal probes. But talk about a guy who owns the issue. They're even afraid of him in other galaxies, including the home planet of Adam Schiff. Meanwhile, Harris can keep doing 180-degree turns like Tim Waltz when he hears a car backfire. But we know if she changed policy positions once, she's going to do it again. So she can go to the border all she wants. We all know that the real wall she wants to build is between who she was and who she pretends to be now. Let's welcome tonight's guests! At his comedy shows, the 2-drink minimum is cyanide. Actor, writer, comedian Jamie Lissow. She drives leftist nuts while firming your butts. Host of Keeping It Real with Jillian Michaels on Bill Maher's podcast network, Jillian Michaels. She's got 2 bestsellers and 11 toes.
Maybe.
New York Times bestselling author, Fox News contributor, Cat Tip. And he can feed a family of 5 cannibals. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former interviewer with Debbie Titles. Jamie.
I'm actually very excited for Kamala to go to the border because I'm looking forward to hearing her Mexican accent. And this is a little travel hack. If you go to Mexico and you run into a Mexican gang, if they're holding their gun perpendicular, it's a party. Parallel, get the out of there. Could I quickly touch on? I think it's so funny that that aliens. They said Trump would be better with aliens, and remember they told us there were aliens during COVID, and everyone was like, okay. Like nobody cared. Like there was so much going on that nobody cared. That remember people were just like, oh my God, aliens, are they going to bring toilet paper? We need toilet paper. We're so worried about COVID. Thank goodness we'll have somebody. Can you imagine if an alien came and Biden was president and the alien was like, take me to your leader, and they took it to Biden and the alien was like, I think leader means something different on our planet.
That's an excellent impression of an alien, by the way.
Thank you. All day working on that.
Yes, I bet. Jillian, I am so excited to have you here. I'm a big fan. You're the best.
Mutual. Thank you for having me.
You watching this election? You seeing what Kamala's doing? What do you think's happening right now?
Well, first of all, I was paying attention to the interstellar alien thing because I did not want the anal probe. And I will say, little prude. I will also say, like, maybe she missed the exit. You know what I mean? She's just showing up like 4 years late. You know, you miss the exit, you show up an hour late. And I think she's also going to pick up Europe right after this, I'm told.
Yes.
I'm thinking it's alarming. In all transparency, I am a former lefty. I try to root myself firmly in the center, but I feel as though that cliche that the left left me, and some of these unbelievably extreme positions alarm me, and I can't wrap my head around how they got there.
Yeah. I think that's the story for a lot of people, is that they're finding themselves without a home.
Very much so.
You know, whether it's RFK or Tulsi Gabbard, and they're all like, just like going, it's not like we don't want to be Democrats. The Democrats don't want to be us.
That is it in a nutshell. And when you start listening to people like yourself, in all transparency, it makes sense. There are things I don't agree with on the right. There are things I don't agree with on the left. But the extremes are deeply alarming. And the fact that we're making issues like health partisan, we're politicizing health and making that an alt-right issue,
Yeah, that's
for
crazy.
me is despicable.
Yeah. That is crazy. Especially since Stalin was a fat-ass cat.
I just agree with like everything she said.
Chairman Mao.
It never happens to be on this show, so I'm really excited. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't it bother you that this always happens before an election? Suddenly they care about these issues?
Of course. Well, of course. And again, she's running as if she's the opposition. I know we're going to talk later about Biden on The View, but he straight up was saying, well, yeah, I gave her all kinds of stuff, you know?
Yes.
She was a whole part of all of this. So, I mean, think about, I always go back to this, the Dreamers. Remember that? When
Yes.
Trump said he was going to remove protection for the Dreamers, everyone's up in arms. How many years ago was that now? Nothing has been done to try to actually solve that issue. Everybody talks about it when it's convenient, and then when it's then when it's something else is convenient to talk about, they start talking about that. Politicians now are so obsessed with getting like the best little sound bites on TV or like owning each other on Twitter, which is pathetic when any of us do it. But it's more pathetic when they do it because you actually are the ones that do have the power to do something about this stuff. But they don't. So obviously now she wants to go there and say, hey, and they're going to say, you already know what they're going to say. It's so predictable. They're saying Trump killed the border bill and it's all his fault. And then Trump's going to say, your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. And then nobody gets anywhere. We're going to be in the same position.
And where are the Dreamers? Where did they go?
They're smart. They're
everywhere.
laying low.
Yeah. More like wet dreamers.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.